All right, welcome in. Another Saturday of college football. He is Jim Dunaway. I'm Ryan Brown. LT will be with us in, hopefully a minute. We'll see. Uh, week 4 brings Dunaway back from the plains of Auburn. He is back in his headquarters for the Johnston RV Center.com Saturday Preview. What's up, Dunaway? How are you today?
I'm doing great. I had muted you for a second, so I timed it out perfectly. I got back right when you said, "How you doing, Dunaway?" So I missed
How you
everything.
doing?
I missed everything you said before that. I assume you mentioned all our great sponsors. Welcome everybody in, and we're good to go. I didn't miss anything, did I?
I said, there's nobody I'd rather work a Saturday morning with than the great Jim Dunaway, legend in
Yes.
Birmingham TV, radio, and multimedia.
Boy, something has changed in the last 12 hours in our relationship. I don't know what it is. Have I got a diagnosis I don't know about? Hey, I just saw our buddy Justin Hokanson tweet that on the Auburn campus, they have the early game, that he just saw Bruce Pearl drive past him in a Bentley today. Is it a big
Bentley.
A Bentley. Big basketball recruiting weekend down at Auburn, I guess.
Yeah, I would like to know who was riding shotgun or maybe driving. Yeah.
The Bentley and the Aston Martins have become the recruiting cars of the SEC
Yes.
now that it's all legal, right?
Yes, they are the recruiting, the currency of current recruiting. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
A wild week for the Auburn Tigers. We were going to start there, and we'll come back, I guess, and make our pick against the point spread. But I wanted to discuss it right out of the chute, Dunaway. A wild weekend. You mentioned Justin Hokanson. He was the first one to report that Zach Calzada is thinking about shutting his season down and having a little surgery there. TJ Finley, not officially out according to Auburn, but out according to Mr. Finley.
Right.
So there's a lot of storylines going into this game.
It is. This is we joked during the week, and I actually heard some people this morning on Sirius XM when I was out running to get some breakfast actually say the same thing we talked about earlier this week and use the same reference. Could be a loser leave town type situation at Jordan-Hare Stadium, like in your old local wrestling Saturday night events down at the local auditoriums, where much like we had, was it Les Miles and Gus Malzahn back in the day at Jordan-Hare Stadium, and Les has passed. They didn't get to snap off in time. The last play, He lost his job. We may be in that same situation today with Eli Drink and Brian Harsh. I don't think Eli would lose his job instantly, but it's a big game for Missouri, much bigger game for Auburn today. And when you look at this Tiger football team, you start wondering who's going to make plays. If you don't have a quarterback in TJ Finley, if Calzada is not an option, which if I believe Hokanson's reporting he is not, that he's taking that surgery and he's down for the year. So are you going to go every snap with what was a limited package for Robbie Ashford? Or is it time to see the 4-star recruit quarterback Holden Gerner jump in there? I'd tell you, if you're jumping in against an SEC defense, this Missouri one may not be the worst one to jump into, and especially with a home game. So it may be Gerner time down there, or Holden time, whichever way you want to go. So we may see him. Either way, the path for Auburn's victory is running the football. That's always been their strength. I thought that's what they should have done a little bit more in the second quarter last week with Tank Bigsby. So we'll see if Auburn's best position with Bigsby and Hunter gets a few more calls today with the quarterback scare.
All right, Lance is about to jump in with us, and we'll discuss more on that. I do want to take care of a few items of business. First of all, thank you to Johnston RV Center.com, Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator, always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. They are closing out the 2022s, making room for the 23, so you can get a great deal. Also, thank you to Champy's, world-famous fried chicken. Sterling and the gang already getting it ready for you. Too late if you're headed to Auburn, but you need to remember it next time. But for the Bama game tonight against Vandy, all the college football action, those world-famous tamales, fried chicken tenders, the po' boys, great sides, great desserts right there at Champy's, world-famous fried chicken in Alabaster. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you've already subscribed to our channel. If not, click on that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Also, set alerts so you know when we're live, and share us as best you can. If you're watching us on Twitter right now, hit that retweet and give us a thumbs up. If you're watching us on Facebook, share it, give us a thumbs up. Like us on Twitch as well. Please share it wherever you're watching. Retweet, share, so that everybody can jump in here with us. We'll open up the chat here in 1 second. If you have a game you want us to get to, hit it in that chat and we'll get to it. And also, you see at the top right there, Nextround.store. Use the code WEEKEND at checkout. Free shipping. Nextround.store. Code WEEKEND at checkout today. Free shipping. All right, let's bring in Lance Taylor. He joins us now. LT, how are you today?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Doing awesome. Welcome in. Another fun day. We were just talking about Missouri and Auburn, and Dunaway almost described it as a loser leave town event. It kind of has – I don't know that Drinkwitz will get fired with a loss today, but if you look at their upcoming schedule, to Dunaway's point, it's going to be tough. Harsin with a loss, anything's on the table, I think.
I agree with that. I think if Auburn somehow loses this game, I think Harsin is out today. But Drinkwitz right now, I mean, he's a 500 coach at Missouri. I mean, I don't know what the expectation is. I thought Barry Odom did an okay job there. He was fired. Gary Pinkel did an incredible job. I mean, kind of what Mark Stoops is doing at Kentucky. I mean, if you're a Missouri fan, I think you got to be a little realistic in the SEC. I mean, right now, for him to go 5-5 in year one in a 10-game SEC schedule and then 6-7 last year, he's 2-1 this year. I mean, everybody's saying this, is a game where he could be fired. I don't agree.
Yeah, I will tell you this, Lance, get a little feedback there. That I believe you look at what Eli Drinkwitz is doing in Missouri, and you look at just how average or awful the offense is right now. And I was expecting him to be more of an offensive, coaching staff, deliver a little bit more pop to the Missouri name. And they just are not that this year. They are struggling. They tried to get every one of the quarterbacks, including Zach Calzada. They did not. They missed on every one of them along the way. And they are struggling at that position. It sets up really good for Auburn despite their quarterback problems. I still think the Tigers win this by a touchdown or more today. I like Auburn even to cover the line.
Well, watch out for Luther in the third. He's the true freshman. He can do it all. 177 all-purpose yards last weekend. And he's one of those kids. If it doesn't work out, Drinkwitz for whatever reason fired if the season goes south, he's one of those guys that transfer out.
Yeah, I was dealing with this echo, so I think we got.
Seems to be gone now.
Yeah, it seems to be gone now. I have no earthly idea where that was coming from, but I heard what you guys said about 15 times over. Y'all ready to jump into some games here? Is that okay?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, let's crank up the enthusiasm on this morning show, man. Here we go. I don't know about you guys, but 9 o'clock got here faster this week than it has any other week.
It did. I apologize. I actually woke up on the couch at like 5 this morning, and I fell asleep. I never fall asleep on the couch.
Okay. Were you banished to the couch, or was that just the most comfortable?
No. We were down there. We were watching. We ended up watching 3 movies last night. After dinner. So
yeah. All right, here we go. Let's start with Baylor, Iowa State. ESPN2, number 17, Baylor on the road in Ames, plus 2.5. Baylor catching points in this situation, though they're a top 25 team. We'll start with you, LT. Iowa State at home. Matt Campbell mentioned for some jobs that are open here, and he's hosting the defending Big 12 champion Baylor.
It's the first time he's ever been 4-0 or 3-0, a chance to go 4-0. This is a tough game, really tough game. Everybody thought Iowa State would take a step back. They beat Iowa for the first time under him. Baylor with Chapin at quarterback. This number's perfect. I completely stayed away from this game. I lean Iowa State. I don't feel great about it, but I think the Cyclones somehow get a win here, but I think it's a tough game.
I love Iowa State in this game, and I'll tell you why, LT. I don't like Baylor's offensive line. You mentioned Blake Chapin. He keeps getting pounded every week, and I'm not sure how healthy this team is for Baylor coming off their early part of their schedule and that loss. Where'd they lose out west? BYU. Where they lost earlier this year. They've been banged up since then. I like Iowa State at home. That is in Ames, right? I like Iowa State at home today, and I like them to cover that little skinny number. Yes.
11 o'clock ESPN2.
Give me the Clones.
Michigan steps into conference. I mean, they're a 17-point favorite here. This is the Fox Big Noon kickoff with Klatt and Gus Johnson and Jenny. So it's hard to say this is their first test, but when you look at the remainder of the schedule they've already played, this is their first test, but they are still 17-point favorites over Maryland. Dunaway. They've rotated quarterbacks. Looks like they've settled on one of those. But where they're really good is running the football, obviously.
They are with Corum. They're great at running the football. If you were watching the beginning of game day, Ohio State grad Kirk Herbstreit said, "Michigan, welcome to the 2022 football season after 3 no opponents to open up the season." So everyone recognizes Michigan has had 0 tests so far. Talia Tagovailoa can sling the football. I think they have at least 2 projected NFL wide receivers there. So it comes down to turnovers today. If the day is over with and Maryland has 0 turnovers, I think Maryland can win the game outright. Now, seeing Talia Tagovailoa in a big game have 0 turnovers is like finding a unicorn here on 280. So I don't know if that can happen, but I think Maryland, with Mike Locksley calling the plays and coaching up that Maryland team, this is a potential big upset in college football today if Tagovailoa can keep a clean sheet.
Oh, you're insane. There is no chance, Maryland. They've got no shot. I mean, they're going to get pushed around up front. They might come in under the number. Here's trends and or angles for you. Michigan's covered 6 straight against Maryland. Maryland 0-6 against the number versus ranked opponents since the start of 2020. I think that's all Mike Locksley, by the way. They don't play well against really good opponents. And I think Michigan's found their quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. So I think Michigan will play well here. They're 11-3 against the number as a favorite since the start of last season. So Harbaugh, when he has an opportunity to pound an inferior opponent, he does it. And Maryland's not up to Michigan right now.
What'd you call me? Insane? Crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, all the above.
Yeah. Mom, meatloaf.
Let's go to the 11 o'clock ABC game. Clemson at Wake. Sam Hartman has been back for a couple of games. Good against Vandy. Put up some numbers against Liberty, but he also turned it over a lot, LT. Clemson laying 7.5 in this game in Winston-Salem. I think they were telling us in the chat yesterday, I don't have it in front of me, that place holds like 38,000. I would guess 15,000 Clemson fans.
Yeah, I could see that. And you look at Wake, 1-64 all time against top 10 opponents. Their one win, 1946 versus number 4 Tennessee. This is one of those games, even going back last year, I think Clemson is better this year than they were last year. Wake wins the Atlantic but loses 48-27, and Clemson runs for 333 yards. And both of those backs are back, Will Shipley and Kobe Pace. So, if I'm Dabo, I run the football, and Wake Forest refuses to run the football. So I think Hartman's going to be under duress the entire day. I think he's going to make mistakes like he did last week against Liberty. And I think Clemson wins this game going away.
I agree with you. I like Clemson to win this game today. Will Shipley is averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Now, I know Dabo doesn't come across as a rocket scientist, but if you're giving a guy the football and he carries the ball 8 yards a carry, how many times do you have to give it to him, Brown, for it to be a first down?
Well, Jim, he'll get a first down on his second carry.
Exactly. So 8 yards a carry,
right,
is what Shipley is running, and that's a mismatch today between Clemson in the trenches against Wake Forest, and as pointed out by our great viewers and listeners, Wake Forest's mesh run offense. That's why they have to throw it, LT, because when they run that mesh against that Clemson defensive line, it's a non-starter there for them. So that's why Sam Hartman's got to sling it around.
Man, I love Dave Clawson. I think he's done an incredible job, obviously getting Wake to an ACC championship game last year, and he's had double-digit win seasons multiple times now in Winston-Salem. But he's getting further and further away from the run. And Sam Hartman is again, I said this before the season, maybe the most underrated quarterback in college football. But if you've got no run game at all, especially against that Clemson front, I mean, it's a disaster. Unfortunately for me, I am so superstitious I can't touch this because it's an 11 o'clock. But, I mean, I love Clemson. I mean, I think Clemson wins this game by 21+.
I've got to go make sure I've got this correct on my office pick'em here that I've got Clemson. Okay, I'm good. Good.
Well, here's some feedback on it. Tyler says, I'd probably lay the points, but I'm not going to bet on it. Chris says, Wake has no offensive line.
0. He is right. Who said that? Chris?
That was, Chris. Wake,
Chris. Post of the morning so far, Chris. Congratulations.
All right, let's move on. I can't believe we're about to talk about this game in the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday pregame.
Don't do it.
Thank you to JohnstonRVCenter.com. Thank you, JohnstonRVCenter.com and Champy's for giving us this moment right here. Guys, Duke is at Kansas. They're undefeated versus undefeated. Kansas favored 7 in Lawrence. LT, I know you love you some Jayhawk football historically. This is a huge game for them. They've sold it out in Lawrence.
Lance Leipold has done a great job. How about this? This is the first time since October of 2009. We were doing separate shows back then. That Kansas has been favored by 7 or more against a Power 5 opponent.
That's incredible.
I mean, it kind of shows you, where this program is right now. But after 12 straight seasons of 3 or fewer wins, Kansas is sitting at 3-0, and they're going to win this game today. And I don't know if they cover. I lean they do. Jalen Daniels has been great. He's got over 800 yards of offense, 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick. He's got the best QBR through 3 games. The last time a QBR was this good was back in 2018 with your boy Tua.
Wow.
That's where Jalen Daniels is right now.
Pretty good company.
Hey, I like that. Duke in Kansas, and we're making a big deal about it. And I understand why they're 3-0. They're basketball schools, blah, blah, sell out at Kansas for a football game. But in the end, what are we really talking about here? Kansas as a bowl eligible team?
No,
they're not going to contend in the Big 12, are they, guys? I mean, the ceiling is about to come for this team, right? The best case scenario for them is what, 6-6?
Well, let me pull their schedule real quick because
but they're about to hit Big 12 play. I know they've already played West Virginia, Dunaway, to your point. But can you see them, even if they win here today, can you see them finding 2 more Big 12 wins to get to 6-6?
Yeah, if they do, then they're bowl eligible. They're 6-6. So we're making a big deal about Kansas, and they have beaten two FBS teams already. So they're unbeaten. They're 3-0. But this has been it was a nice story on Monday. It has been overplayed as we get here to Saturday. Well, I'm starting to tune out on this game a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you this: they could start 6-0, and then it could fall apart. They've got kind of that Auburn schedule early on because they've got Iowa State in Lawrence next week, and then they've got TCU in Lawrence. So those are winnable games for them. Then it gets really tough when they've got to go to Oklahoma, Baylor, Oak State, at Texas Tech, Texas, and at Kansas State. But I think they could start 6-0.
Well, if they start 6-0, I mean, that's a massive story. And then all these jobs Leopold's been mentioned for, it only grows. If they're 6-0, Kansas 6-0.
Yeah, and I'd grab a job at 6-0. I'd go on and take it.
Yeah, that's right.
Behind the scenes.
Put me down right now.
Yeah.
What were you your last season at Kansas? I was 6-0. I quit mid-season, took another job. But I was 6-0.
I'll tell you, this is a veteran team, though. Jalen Daniels been in the system for 3 years. They returned 17 starters, and they've got a lot of fifth-year guys. So he's done a pretty good job with this roster, and I. Based on the offense that I've seen, I know it's against inferior opponents. I say that, West Virginia, we watched them the other night completely dominate Virginia Tech. That was on the road. Houston's a good team, man. So I'm not doubting Kansas right now. I think they get to 6 or 7 wins. I think this is a different Kansas team than we've seen before.
Well, they've got the landmine stamp of overrated right there. So they may go on and play in the Orange Bowl.
It is the Johnston RV Saturday Saturday Preview. Thank you also to Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that thumbs up for us today, set your alerts, share us wherever you are. If you're watching us on Twitter, hit a retweet. The more the merrier here on the pregame show. Thumbs us up there as well. And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like us and share. Like us on Twitch. Rapid Flash, we'll get to some of the games you guys are asking about. James Madison, App State thought. This was my upset alert, guys. I don't know if either one of you have anything on this. All I'm playing here, though, is Appalachian State has lived on edge for 3 consecutive games. Everything they play is close, comes down to the final horn. I think that catches up with you eventually, and they're hosting James Madison. I'd have to look for an updated line here.
I think it's around 7.5. I like App State here. It was one of the worst drawings ever that you put up on Tuesday.
James Madison, man.
Yeah. Or James Madison, basically it was Michael Jackson with dog ears, right? James Madison's a pretty good team, though. And, this is a team that just went D1, so you got to give them a lot of credit. Appalachian State, I think they're going to, Dunaway, ease into the season now. The first 3 games have been insane. But I think this is one of those in Boone where they can go out. They've got a better roster. Chase Bryce will make plays. He's a veteran presence at quarterback. And I think Appalachian State wins this game by double digits.
Lance, I couldn't disagree. I couldn't agree with them. I couldn't disagree with you more. I agree with Brown on this one. James Madison was one of the better FCS teams. They've been building for the jump to this level. Now they basically are on the same trajectory as Appalachian State on the move up from being a power at the lower level. And I think James Madison has a better roster than Troy, who should have won the game last week in Boone. At some point, the sleepwalking, the party, the everything has to end for Appalachian State. I thought Brown made a fantastic pick earlier this week on Tuesday on our upset alert. I was going to make the same pick. He just drew Alexander Hamilton or whoever it was before I did.
It's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but I am not going to miss my shot. I'm going to take James Madison in this one. The Dukes, I believe they're known as. I like the Dukes better than I do Duke today. I'll take James Madison as well in this one. I'm with you, Brown.
Yep. LT, be thinking about this. We'll come back to it later in the show. It's become a tradition. What's the teaser play? We need a teaser.
We didn't talk about this week. I'll pull it right now.
Yeah, have a good one. Have a good one. We'll get to that.
I will.
You see if you can bait Dunaway into a steak on a teaser.
Oh, can I just pick one on my random?
Yeah, both of y'all think of one. Y'all think of one. We'll get to it at the end of the show.
Okay, please don't judge me on my glasses today. My glasses broke, so I'm wearing a pair of Maggie's glasses. Look at this. You see that?
Oh dear!
Yeah.
The queen
look
has
at that.
died, and you've broken your glasses.
I mean, look at these glasses right here.
Wow.
It's goodbye, yellow brick road.
You want to go to the wedding for me tonight?
All right, let's go to the 2:30.
Brown, you picked that up, didn't you?
Oh, I'm all over it.
2:30 slate, ABC. Notre Dame is at North Carolina. The Irish have been horrible on offense to start the year, and North Carolina is favored by 2.5. Who's been great on offense? This is the old great offense, no offense. They'll meet somewhere in the middle, I suppose. Dunaway.
They will, and I'm trying to think of my thoughts on this game from earlier because I had a pretty heavy play on this one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I have to. I'm in this one office pool with my buddy Bob Elliott, and it's such a good scientific pool every week. You have to pick 25 games against the point spread.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So and they give you the games. You don't just pick 25 out. And I'm trying to. This is one I've been back and forth. I just think Notre Dame's defense. I go back to what they were able to do with C.J. Stroud and the Ohio State offense in game number 1. And I think they'll be able to slow May and North Carolina down today to keep this game interesting. And I go back to how bad North Carolina's defense has been. And I think it opens up a big day for it's Meyer at tight end, right, for them.
Michael Mayer. Yep.
Michael Mayer, not Michael Myers. Michael Mayer at tight end for Notre Dame. I'm going to go off the board here. I'm going to go with the Irish pulling the upset in Chapel Hill. I think Notre Dame wins this game outright today, and they have a big game from their first-round draft pick tight end, and we see another bad day from North Carolina and Coach Chiz's defense, and it costs them the football game today.
I am going to recuse myself because I do have this as one of my 11 plays today. I've got a side on this. I feel really good about it. I'll just say that North Carolina does have the better quarterback. I think Notre Dame is better than they have played so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
You could not have stayed down the middle of the road more than that.
That's right.
I will tell you, if you go to lanceslock.com and you want his 11 plays today, use the promo code Jim. Help me pass a coworker of mine with most selections there. So promo code Jim today.
Shameless. Minnesota at Michigan State. Big Ten Network, 2:30 kick in East Lansing. This looks weird to see Minnesota laying points in East Lansing. What a weird-looking line on this one, LT.
Well, I think it's an overreaction based on what we saw last week in Seattle. Late night game, Michael Penix was on. Kalen DeBoer's done a really, really, really good job early on with that Washington program. I still think Michigan State's a solid program, and I think people are sleeping on Michigan State right now based on last week. Again, I'm going to recuse myself because I do have a side on this. I think Washington is a really good team. I think they could get tested tonight, our last game on the slate. But Michigan State, not as bad as they played last week.
Yeah, I don't know, you've got to play on this. I don't know exactly what you're playing here, but I'm all over Michigan State. I think you're getting value with them at home. It's a tough place to play in East Lansing. They are a better roster than they showed on the road at Washington. Mel Tucker coming back with his defense against a Minnesota team that's lost their starting receiver for the rest of the season. Have to rely on the running game. Mel Tucker's defensive mind, you're able to make them one-handed a little bit to just go to the run game. He'll be able to stack that box today. I like Michigan State, and I love the under in this one. Michigan State and the under.
What was this? What was that?
This?
Yeah.
That was
what was that? See you.
I see you, man. I see you.
Oh, okay.
That was my jaw goggles.
Got you. Hey, Ush wants us. Anybody got a thought? Miami is laying 21.5 Middle Tennessee. Thoughts on that one? Anybody got anything at all on the Canes?
MTSU inside the number. I like MTSU inside the number. Miami by 20.
I think Miami's got to build some confidence back with their offense. Texas A&M, DJ Durkin's defense kind of exposed them last weekend, and I think Tyler Van Dyke has a big game here. I think I would lay the points.
All right, that is a 2:30 ACC network game. Dunaway, let's go to the CBS game. Florida, Tennessee. I don't guess I have paid close enough attention. I was astounded to find out that Tennessee has lost 16 of 17. So if you go back 15 years, basically the start of the Saban era in Tuscaloosa, they've played 30 games now against Alabama and Tennessee, or Alabama and Florida, Tennessee's two biggest rivals, and they're 1-29. Yeah. That is just, as I tweeted, that is incomprehensible to think about when you grew up watching the Tennessee football I watched. They are now favored 11, biggest point spread they've ever had in this game.
Yeah, and I like Tennessee today. Crowd will be crazy, thirsty for what they're going to get today. And I'm like you, Brown. I've been drunk on the Alabama streak against Tennessee that I have not really paid attention. That's some pretty average Florida teams that have won football games over Tennessee in that streak. That's not always national championship or playoff contenders like Alabama has been in that streak. These are some average coaching changes, all that from Urban Meyer to everyone else that followed him, including Jim McElwain and Will Muschamp and Dan Mullen and now you're to Billy Napier. So it's hard to believe that that's the streak. And they were checkerboard out. They'll checker out Neyland Stadium today. Reese Davis gave the stat at the beginning of game day when they are in Knoxville today. In checkered stadium games, they're 1-4 though, Tennessee. So they got to overcome that jinx today. But I think they do. And LT, I don't know about you, I think they actually cover this game. Big day for Hendon Hooker, even without Cedric Tillman, who is expected not to play. Your former USC Trojan Brew McCoy could have an interesting day.
Brown, you are on a heater right now because I'm going to recuse myself, but I'll give you guys a couple of numbers on this because I do have a side on this. But Tennessee, so not only, and we talked about this, Hendon Hooker as the starting quarterback, 42 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which is insane. But he's had a touchdown pass in 15 straight games. Second longest streak in Tennessee history. Someone had a touchdown pass in 18 straight games. You guys want to guess who it was?
T. Martin.
I guess Peyton Manning.
It's not Peyton Manning.
Eric King.
He sells real estate now.
Heath Schuler.
Wow.
Yep. I think we forget how good of a quarterback Heath Schuler was. I mean, that kid was a stud back in the day. This Tennessee team is really good, though. And Anthony Richardson, I brought this up, one of the more amazing numbers out there. He's got as many tackles on the season 3 as he does total touchdowns 3. They've yet to throw a touchdown pass. That atmosphere will be heated today. And we're going to see, it's interesting with Josh Heupel. And Brown, I know you were never high on the guy. He can call a game. He is a really good offensive coach. Is he an elite coach? We don't know yet. But they can go out and make a statement today.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I believe, we don't talk enough about, what Tennessee is defensively. What have you guys seen from Tennessee defensively? because Pittsburgh put up some points on them, didn't they? So
They did.
That's the only question mark left out there, because they're fourth in the FBS in scoring. They're scoring points. I'm not going to be worried about the run game or Hendon Hooker and the receivers all season long. It's what they're going to provide defensively with Tennessee, and we'll get a little bit of a full flavor of that today against Florida. I like the Vols too, and I like them to cover.
Yeah, they were part of the stat I gave yesterday, Dunaway, defensively, and it was about Alabama, how tonight Bama faces Vandy, which starts a streak of three of the next 4 games where they'll face a pass defense that's in the bottom 30 in college football, and all ranked 12th, 13th, and 14th in the SEC. Tennessee's one of those pass defenses. So Richardson's got an opportunity today against a pass defense that is in the bottom 30 in college football to potentially have a game. So, we'll see. Yeah. I think it's a fascinating matchup. It really is.
I expect Tennessee's defense to keep him from running the football.
Yeah.
And make him beat them throwing the football, because I'm not really impressed with Florida's receivers. Tennessee big in this one.
All right.
I've got that tease ready to go whenever.
Okay. We'll get to it. It is the Johnston RV Center.com Saturday Preview, also presented by Champy's world famous fried chicken. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to head up to JohnstonRVCenter.com. Check out those great deals they've got as they move out the 2022s. To move in the 2023s means you can get a great deal there at Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Also hit Champy's world famous fried chicken today for all your game day food. Champy's world famous fried chicken, 119 in Alabaster. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you've given us that thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. Also set alerts. We'll do a post-game version of this. We just don't know what time. It's always floating depending on how the day goes. We'll probably do 2 today. You never know. If you set alerts, you never miss it. And watch us if you're on Twitter. We'll retweet it when we go out. Make sure you share this on Twitter. Retweet us right now and click the thumbs up there. Like us on Facebook. Share us there. If you haven't followed us on social media, please do that. Let's see. Let me get some of the responses here. Shane, we're about to get to this game. Ole Miss minus 20.5 seems like easy money. What do y'all think? And Brandon follows up and says Tulsa is salty. Dunaway, Ole Miss.
I love Tulsa in the points today, Brown. I really do, against Ole Miss. I'm sorry I jumped on you there.
That's right.
I broke up a little bit by changing my screen, looking for my own tees. I like Tulsa to cover this game. I agree. Tulsa is salty. They won't win the game at all today, but I do think Tulsa gets inside the number. I know I was totally wrong about Ole Miss last week. They totally impressed me, but I think you could bet a car payment on Tulsa today.
I think, watching Ole Miss last week, I think their defense, I don't know if it's good or not. They're only allowing 13 points per game this year. I think Georgia Tech might be that bad, but on the other side, you want some trend and or angles with Tulsa. They're 10-0 against the number versus ranked opponents since the start of 2018. They're 8-0 against the number as a dog since 2020. They're 15-3 against the spread in road games since 2019, and they're 3-0 against the spread this year. I mean, this is a covering team.
They are a covering machine, no doubt. All right, so there's some thoughts on Ole Miss Tulsa. That's actually a 3 o'clock SEC Network game. I want to dip back into the 2:30s real quick, though, because this is an interesting road game for the Texas Longhorns. 2:30 ESPN, number 22 Texas at Texas Tech. LT, I don't think we'll see Quinn Ewers today, but Dunaway, as he pointed out earlier this week, Ewers will travel, so maybe so. But I would guess we're going to see a lot of Hudson Card here.
I think you're going to see a lot of Bijan Robinson.
Yep, and I agree with you, LT. That's the key. But whether it's Hudson Card or Quinn Ewers, Bijan came out of his shell last week for 183. But I ask you, if Quinn Ewers has practice, as reports say he has all week long, and he's traveling, that sounds to me. I mean, they can't lose another game to make the playoffs. It's the Big 12 play. LT, would you play Quinn Ewers if he's traveling, he's dressed, he's been practicing? Would you play him?
If he's medically cleared, yeah, I'd play him. I've got a feeling we won't see him today. I think it will be all Hudson Card, and then I think next week we probably see Ewers. I don't know if they need Ewers today against Texas Tech. Joey McGuire's done a pretty good job with backup quarterbacks as well. All 3 of his quarterbacks are apparently healthy right now. Texas has covered 9 of their last 12 against Texas Tech, but they failed to cover 6 of their last 7 in the Big 12. I don't know who I like here. I stayed away from this game. I think Texas wins the game, but I think it could come down to the wire. I wouldn't be shocked if Texas Tech wins, though.
Paul says Texas Tech straight up letdown spot for Texas. I kind of thought last week against UTSA was a letdown spot for Texas, and they actually handled that pretty well.
Yeah,
one moment in that game flipped everything.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, LT, on these teasers, how many points are you able to move the line? Is it 10 or 6?
Well, it's 6 on 2-team teasers. On 3, it's 10.
10. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Ooh. So if it was 7.5, I can take it to where I'm getting 3.5.
You're getting 2.5.
2.5. Man, that's so easy.
Simple math.
So easy. Let's go to a 3:00 Fox game. Oregon at Wazoo. Dunaway, Bo Nix on the road in front of 30-some-odd thousand. And Oregon laying 6.5 in this one against Washington State.
Yeah, I know LT is going to laugh at me at this, but I think Bo Nix has turned the corner. I think he officially became a Duck last week. He got his web feed or his beak, whatever you get out there. With such a big game, it will not be as easy this week against Washington State. But I think Oregon, with some skill players around him, Dan Lanning's system coming in defensively, I like Oregon to win this game, and I like Oregon to cover in this game.
Oh, man, this is a tough game. It was my headline yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I said the Cougars get ducked 6 ways from Sunday, but I don't know, man. It's tough. Washington State is 10-2 against the number in their last 12 against Oregon. They're only giving up 12.5 points per game. Big game for Cameron Ward. You know, he hasn't been on the national stage yet. He was one of the high-profile transfer quarterbacks this past year, going from FCS to FBS. Now he's got an opportunity, national television and Fox. Pullman's a sleepy, good home field advantage. And I just wonder if this is a letdown spot for Oregon. I think it's a tough spot. I lean Washington State. I don't feel great about it, though.
Yeah, it's one of those where they've got to protect Bo Nix because, as my headline would say, when you spend a day in Pullman, you don't want to leave with a sore Nix. So you got to protect Nix today and keep him upright.
All right. Hey, don't forget, go to nextround.store, code weekend, free shipping at the Next Round store, code weekend. So take advantage of watching us because it's the only place you're going to see that code. So there's some of you that are getting something others have slept on here. Code weekend at nextround.store and save on all the shipping there at checkout. So many of you took advantage of that last week. We appreciate that. Continue to do that. All right, let me see. Where do we want to go next, boys?
You want me to get my teaser real quick before you pick another game?
Let's do the teaser thing. You guys are itching to get to this, so let's do it. Let's get these teasers out there. We'll go with the Dunaway teaser first.
Here's the one I want to play, LT. Will you give me this one? I'll take Ohio State minus 9.5. These numbers come from covers right now. I'll take Tennessee minus a hook. And I'll take Clemson where I get 2.5. That's easy money. I feel even bad taking that one against you because that's a winner.
I agree. I think it's a winner, but I'll take it.
Okay. So for a stake, I'll take that. Yeah. So I've got Ohio State minus 9.5. I've got Tennessee minus a hook, and I've got Clemson plus 2.5. Which one do you think blows me up, LT?
I am going to say that it is Ohio State. I think Wisconsin is going to come to play today.
So you think Ohio State will keep that within 9.5 to blow up my teaser? Well, good. It's perfect landmine. I'll feel great after 2 straight wins in both early and midday windows, going into the night window, thinking I'm about to win a stake. And
based on your past performances, Wake's going to pull an upset here early.
Straight up.
I'll be honest, I'd love to see it. Again, I stayed away from that game. I wanted to pound Clemson. I think Clemson actually pounds Wake Forest. I'd love to see Wake Forest win this game.
Well, the landmine is out there. Dabo must deal with that here early.
Yeah, let's get some listener feedback here. Brandon says, "I think Bo Nix has turned the corner." That's never been said before. I did feel like we say that a lot at Auburn, right? DeBrad says Bo Nix turned the corner and ran into himself.
Hey, man, I mean, I know you guys watched it, but Bo was really good last weekend. I mean, really good against a good BYU, aggressive defense.
Best he's looked since high school, Lance. I mean, I don't think he ever had a game at Auburn where he looked that good. I know he didn't have a game at Auburn where he had 5 total touchdowns. I don't know that he had one where he even looked that good but didn't score 5 total touchdowns, in my opinion. All right, let's go to the Will says hashtag Fade Dunaway. There's the first Fade Dunaway of the day.
Hey, that's in the store as well. Still
Yes, it is.
Few left, just a few left. Hashtag Fade Dunaway. And there was one down at the Floribama last night. Pretty cool.
I saw that. Next round store code weekend if you want to get one of those Fade Dunaway shirts. Let's go to the night slate. 6 o'clock ESPN. Arkansas and Texas A&M in the Southwest Classic. They're at Jerry World. If I am not mistaken, this is the last one of these. Dunaway doing his Texas A&M signs. This is either the last one or next year is the last one. This game moves back on campus. Arkansas, Texas A&M, the Aggies, maybe a surprising favorite, at 2.5 in this neutral site game, a total of 50.5. Dunaway, you were doing your hand signs. Does that mean you like the Ags?
I do. I think Max Johnson with another week running this offense. To me, the three best players on the field are A-Chain, Anias, and then the running back for Arkansas, Sanders. So I expect this actually to be a pretty juicy offensive game. I think we get some long runs, a lot of people in space, and maybe not the in the trenches, gutted out 14-13, 17-14 type game people are expecting with a Jimbo offense. I think you turned the corner today. I hate saying that word again twice. I think it's a breakout day today for Texas A&M's offense and Max Johnson. I like Texas A&M barely over Arkansas, but enough to cover the number. Give me the Aggies.
Okay, again, I've got to back off because I do have a play on this game. I think the best three players, though, are Drew Sanders, Raheem Sanders, and KJ Jefferson. Those are the three best players on the field. A-Chain is really good, but I think Arkansas's got the better team. I think they've got the better players. The problem is they're allowing 335 passing yards. Can Max Johnson take advantage of that? I will tell you, watching a Jimbo Fisher called game is one of the most painful things in the world.
It really is. It really is.
It's a terrible, archaic offense.
Yeah, he seemingly was so good at it back in the day, LT. But you're right. It doesn't feel like it has any flow anymore. It feels like a Stallings era Alabama team.
Yeah,
they got really good defense, and they just can't score points.
When we have a flow problem at the ranch, you know what we do? We take one of those big enema things and we stick it right up the horses, you know what, right there. And we pump some still water into that, and then it's free flowing. That's what's going to happen to Jimbo's offense today. Honey, can you make me a plate and get me another one of these cups of coffee?
By the way, with his enema game of the year, LT.
Yeah, I need a plate too. So I didn't do my teaser. I would take Tennessee.
Right.
Close to a pick. I would take Clemson, and I would take Iowa. Close to a pick.
So two of my three, and then you take Iowa, not Ohio State.
The problem with your teaser, LT. The problem with your teaser, you know what it is? You got to watch Iowa Rutgers. That's the drawback on your teaser.
Well, I'm going to go on and tell you my biggest play today is Iowa. Iowa's going up to 8.5, and so it will be on a TV tonight. And I think I'm going to go on and tell you I think Iowa shuts out Rutgers. I don't think Rutgers scores tonight.
Dunaway, if that game were in my backyard, what do I tell them?
Hey, you kids run down the street and get away from old Buckshot's yard, okay, before I pull out some buckshot in that ass.
I'm trying to watch games inside. I don't need y'all playing outside. Hey, let's step away from the games real quick. Connor asked a really good question. Stetson is going to win the Heisman, LT. What are the lines looking like on that right now? Before you answer real quick, Lunsford, let's see. Shane says he placed a bet on it last week plus 1,200. Lutz says right now at mybookie.ag, don't forget code next round, and they'll double your initial deposit bonus. You can play right there on all these games we're talking about, mybookie.ag. He sees them plus 1125 for Stetson Bennett. That does seem like incredible value right now.
I think it is. If you believe that Georgia's going to win another national championship, Stetson's going to be right there in the mix. Now, if Brock Bowers has Saturdays like he did last week, he's going to be one of those guys that will get a look at tight end, which we never see. And you guys know how voters are. They like to go against the grain and do something new. But Stetson Bennett's such an incredible story. Again, on my ballot right now, I would have Stetson 1, Caleb Williams 2, CJ Stroud 3. Your favorite right now in Vegas is Stroud, then Caleb Williams. But I think you can get value right now with Stetson.
Yeah. I agree. I ride Stetson because you get a little bit of the achievement award too, right, Brown? That he won the national championship last year, was sort of beaten and battered all year by the media and his fan base, and whether or not he deserved to be it. Now he's such a big part of why they're winning. Todd Monken makes him look fantastic with his play calling. Bowers makes him look really good by catching everything. So yeah, I would ride Stetson. That's a good bet.
Hey, Wicked Roller asked this, LT. If you think Rutgers doesn't score, should good play be on under 34 in that one too?
Yeah, I mean, look, you never see a total that low. So I hate giving out unders because, well, a couple of things. People hate pulling for unders. It's really difficult and painful to sit there and watch a game and pull for no scoring. But when you give out an under and you lose it, people really get upset. So I did give out 2 totals today. They're both overs on 2 games that I really, really like. But I would play that under. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a 21-0 type game. I mean, as you said, it's gonna be painful.
Yeah. But you know what they say about unders, though, Brown? You're winning every second of the game until you're not.
Until you're not. And then the over, you're never out of an over, are you? You always got hope. Let's we'll continue real quick. Let's do some business here, though. JohnstonRVCenter.com brings you the show. It's the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday Preview. Thank you to Johnston RV Center, 2 great locations. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Also, thank you to Champy's, world famous fried chicken, right there in Alabaster. Great game day food for you. And don't forget code WEEKEND at checkout, nextround.store. Code WEEKEND at checkout, and you save on your shipping on anything you order there. Nextround.store, code WEEKEND at checkout to save on your shipping. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already. Set your alerts. We'll go post-game at some point today, maybe twice today. Those are always fun, and you'll get the alert on YouTube when we go live there. Also, if you're watching us on Twitter, hit that retweet. Check out or make sure you follow us there so you know when we're going this afternoon and tonight. Also, give us a thumbs up on Twitter. Share us on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up there. And like us also on Twitch. We touched some because your guys' teaser on Wisconsin, Ohio State. Ohio State's minus 19. Anything else on that game for either one of you? Okay.
No, I mean, Wisconsin, if Graham Mertz can play like, this was the highest rated quarterback that Wisconsin's ever signed, and he's been so average. And again, they've yet to beat an FBS team. They lost to Washington State in Madison, but the other 2 games, he's completed 80% or more of his passes. If he plays well today against Ohio State, and look, Ohio State's defense, it's not a given right now. That'll open things up for Braylon Allen, who's one of the best running backs in college football. This could be – I think Ohio State can win this game by 35. I think Wisconsin could also win the game.
You think Wisconsin can actually win the game? If they do that, they will. It will come down to this: the fact that they get back to doing Wisconsin things, and that's slowing down the pace of play, running the football, not letting Graham Mertz, throw red zone interceptions, which cost them the Washington State game. And it would be a situation like sometimes happens when you play, say, Army or military school, where you're not getting a lot of possessions. Then you sort of force your offensive series, and then CJ Stroud goes out there and they start to panic because they're not lighting up the scoreboard. They're not getting a lot of opportunities, and they make some mistakes. That's how Wisconsin can win the game. I think CJ and those guys are too mature, and they play too many snaps together to let that happen. So that's why I like Ohio State so much. But I see what you're talking about. If Wisconsin does Wisconsin-like things, that it's going to be hard to cover the 18.5.
Well, we know Jim Leonard is one of the best coordinators in college football. But, first-year coordinator Bobby Ingram, boy, I feel old. I feel like I was watching that guy at Penn State just the other day. But he's looking for balance, man. They really have started to, as good as they've been on the ground for years, they've got more passing yards this year than rushing yards, which is really interesting for Wisconsin. But it's really a close 50-50 right now. Yeah,
but that's why they're not as good, truthfully. They are in a transition of what they're trying to be. And I think, Brown, they probably have lost a little bit of what they needed on the offensive line and at the running back position. And that mentality it takes to go out there and play the ball Wisconsin played that got them to so many Big Ten championship games and a couple of Rose Bowls.
All right, much like Auburn, Missouri, we'll give our actual play on this game at the end. But since we're in the 6:30 window, SEC Network, Vandy, Alabama, Bama's a 40.5-point favorite, total of 58.5. I just view this, guys, we'll start with you, Dunaway, as a chance for Alabama to get everything right, smooth, get some rhythm going before they enter this upcoming stretch that includes Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Tennessee.
Yeah, and you'll end up seeing two quarterbacks today for them. You'll get to see both Swan and Wright at quarterback. Wright's been so good, but he's been a little banged up. So when Wright's in there, it'll be a great little prep, a little free look at maybe a little bit of what KJ Jefferson will do next week for Arkansas. But I think Alabama fans are still waiting to see a little bit more from the passing game, and maybe they get a little bit of that today, a little bit more continuity in the play calling, a little bit more flow to the game. And, every bit of seat time that Bryce gets with these receivers, these running backs, and with Bill O'Brien calling plays the way he's got to call this year is only going to help this team down the road. I think it'll be one of those games tonight. I wouldn't feel comfortable playing this game either way. And I usually don't I don't like playing 40, 45, those type point games because it's always in the hands of someone else. I know you can take advantage of it, Lance, if you know what you're doing. I just never know good enough to whether
you never know what you're doing.
Yeah, I never know. Is the coach going to want to beat them by more than 40? Is he going to want to, work some other people in there? Are they going to play it a certain way and it's going to be 38? I don't like playing these games, but I think Alabama wins it, setting the table for the next 3 weeks, which will be really big for Alabama football this year.
So this would be the biggest upset in college football history, right?
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen. But with that said, I think Vanderbilt could score some points. They haven't beaten Bama since 1984. This is interesting, and I brought this up the other day. With Vanderbilt getting 40-plus points today, wherever you're shopping that, this is only the 5th time in SEC history that an SEC team on SEC has given up 40 points. And by the way, the Dogs are 4-0 in this one.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. 4-0 against the number, obviously.
Yeah. Has it been Vandy every time?
Vanderbilt.
Has it been Vandy every time?
I did not get that. I mean,
I'm going to say you see their name a lot in this.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a 7:00 game on Fox. This was the game LT tabbed as the double-digit dog winning outright this weekend. Turns out we didn't have to wait till Saturday for that. UTEP took care of it last night with a Boise program that has fallen off. Guys, Boise lost 27-10 at UTEP is a 16.5-point favorite.
And I got to say this, man, Andy Avalos, really good defensive coordinator. This is not all on him. People, they look at the Florida State mess that was left by Jimbo Fisher. Some of this has got to be on Harsin.
7-5. Let's see. He's now 9-7 as the Boise coach, which because he was 7-5, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Now they're 2-2. Dunaway, that's a better program than 9-7. I cannot believe I didn't watch a play of that game. I was at my daughter's game last night. I could not believe that final score when I saw it.
Well, that was the one when I got back from dinner last night that I turned on instantly, and Boise State's just not a good football team, or at least they were not last night. In UTEP, it's the second UTEP game I've seen at home this year. I've seen a lot of UTEP football. An improving program in a tough situation there in El Paso, Texas. LT wasting no time to kneecap Brian Harsin on what could be a safety net job to go back to his school.
That's true.
Up in Boise, blaming the 9-7.
They wouldn't take him back.
You can leave behind good players like Hank Bachmeier and be mismanaged by the people you leave behind. I mean, if LT you died tomorrow and went to heaven and left the show with Brownie and me, it doesn't mean we couldn't screw it up. We'd have almost all the parts left, but you wouldn't be there. We'd find some way to screw this thing up. So don't blame it all on Brian Harsin. He's in Auburn.
I think that's a really shitty analogy, and we don't need to go down that road, Dunaway, but thank you. With that said,
just saying you'd be missed.
I just, Boise is so different, and it seems like every coach gets Boise right, but I said this when Harsin took the job. He left an A job, at least with a Group 5, or he left an A job and he did a B job and an A job. If that makes sense.
Gotcha.
I forgot the way I worded it. Anyway, I don't think Harsin did a great job. Obviously, Avalos is worse right now. That was a terrible loss. And I kicked myself because my original card was UTEP, Virginia, Air Force. And I scratched UTEP and Virginia and played the over in Virginia, Syracuse, and Air Force and split last night. Anyway, 11 plays up today. Lance'sLock.com.
Kansas State, Oklahoma in Norman. This was the original game you pegged as the double-digit dog winning outright. Oklahoma laying 13.5 in this one in Norman.
Well, Kansas State's 5-1 as a double-digit dog since 2019. They're 3-0 against the number versus top 10 teams since 2019. And right now, Oklahoma 7-9 against the number as a double-digit favorite since 2020. Worst cover percentage in the Big 12 over that time. Look, Oklahoma's a better team, but again, I've used this phrase a couple of times this week. I don't think they're fully cooked, and I think Kansas State was looking ahead. I think they were flat last week against Tulane. Offense got caught off guard. Adrian Martinez, when he was a Husker last year, had his career game against Oklahoma in a one-possession loss. I think it's a dogfight tonight.
A dogfight. Wildcats lost to Tulane last week. Hard to see that, man. Oklahoma looks so good. I like the Sooners in this one. I guess that's the layman play is what Lance is saying here, that it is something about Kansas State always having Oklahoma's number, right? It's either an upset or a closer than expected game. But this isn't Lincoln Riley anymore, LT. This isn't a defense that's going to let Kansas State get some gimmies. Brent Venables has that defense playing. Is it vicious? Is that what we're going to use today?
Yeah, I think that's what Brock said. Yeah.
Yeah. Got him playing aggressive, terrorizing, if you will, that Oklahoma defense. I think the Sooners defense, they don't let them down today. I like the Sooners. I like them to cover.
Well, they might be violent, but they haven't seen Deuce Vaughn yet this year. So I think it's an interesting game. We'll see what happens there.
You missed that headline. K-State drops a deuce on Sooners.
Would have been a good one.
Yeah, save that one.
USC, Oregon State, Dunaway up in Corvallis. This game down to 5.5. The Trojans.
What is going on?
Trojans favored 5.5 for the 8:30 Pac-12 Network kick. 100%. I'm doing the free trial to watch this one.
What is going on here? USC.
5.5.
USC's a playoff team, Lance. Caleb Williams is good.
Stop.
This offense is cooking. They've got such good skill players, and this number keeps getting smaller in Corvallis. They're just begging me to take USC in this one. And as a layman, I would take USC and give the points all day long. What's going on here? How come?
Look, I stayed away from this game because I want to. It's one of the best games on the board, though, Oregon State, and I really believe they win this game outright. Watching the game last year, and it was different rosters. Now, BJ Baylor's no longer at Oregon State, and he's a guy that ran all over USC last year. But Oregon State can still run the football. I mean, 322 rushing yards in that 45-27 win last year in the Coliseum. I mean, they got completely embarrassed. And Jonathan Smith is one of the better unknown coaches in all of college football. Chance Nolan's a quarterback that had 4 touchdown passes last year against USC. They completely dominated them last year. They're not going to be intimidated at all in Corvallis. I unfortunately think Oregon State wins this game. I mean, USC – offensively, they're crushing it right now, scoring over 50 points per game, but they're still one of the worst rush defenses, 119th against the rush. And I think that's going to be the difference. I think the Beavers run the football.
Can I just read these stats? I had to pull them up for you here. Caleb Williams completing 74% of his passes, 13 yards per completion, so he's pushing it down the field. Jordan Addison has only not caught 2 balls. He's caught 18 of 20 balls thrown to him this year. Travis Dye and Austin Jones are averaging 141 yards per game rushing. The Trojans offense is averaging 7.8 yards a rush, not even counting Caleb Williams throwing the football. They're averaging 50 points a game. Come on. They do it at pace.
Brown, you see what he did there? He gave us nothing but offensive numbers.
I know.
Again, the problem for the Trojans, they won't have a problem scoring tonight. This is going to be a track meet. This total's right at 70. You know, this thing could play, 45-42. I think it goes over. I like Oregon State. I think Oregon State wins this game with offense. I think finally the Trojans defense gets exposed. They caught a break last week with Jake Haener going out of that game. They were still going to win that game just because they overmatched Fresno State with athletes. But Oregon State, they've got veterans on this team, and I'm scared to death. I hope you're right, Dunaway. I hope USC runs them off the field. I don't see it, though.
Okay, here's a defensive stat for you. USC is only 38th in the country from the bottom in total defense. They're 93rd in the nation.
Woo.
And they're 119th against the run. Does Oregon State run the ball at all? 119th against the run.
These things, Big Ben.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Thank you to JohnstonRVCenter.com, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Go see them because they're closing out those 2022s, making room for the 23, so you'll get a great deal. You can always see them online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Hit Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken today as well, champyschicken.com, to get all your game day fare, from those great chicken tenders to the po' boys and those famous Delta tamales. Also, when you're at nextround.store, don't forget to use code WEEKEND. WEEKEND is the code to use to save on shipping, nextround.store. So let's wrap it up with our official picks. Dunaway, you kind of hinted at it. Alabama minus 40.5. If you had to play it, you'd go Vandy there?
No, I'm going to go Alabama 45-7. Yeah, I'll take Vandy. Yeah,
all
Vandy
right.
in the points, yeah.
All right. LT?
42-14. I take Vandy.
All right. Vandy in the points. I kind of like Alabama in this situation. I just think they're trying to get a lot of things right on offense, try to get a rhythm before that stretch coming up. So I think I'll take Alabama, lay the 40.5.
Son, when you burp, it says roll damn tide, doesn't it?
Much more difficult game to predict here, in my opinion, is Auburn taking on Missouri. I was looking to see if that line had moved since we started the show. It is Auburn 7.5 still. Dunaway, where are you going here?
I'll take Auburn at 20-13. They win the game, and if it's 7.5, you lose by hook. Buy that down.
I think we might be doing a post-game show at 3:00 today.
Ooh. All right, well, because JM says, what time should we expect the after dark? I don't know. That kind of floats, but if Auburn loses this game to Missouri, we're probably on at 3:00 or whenever that game ends.
Yeah, I don't think Missouri's a bad team at all. And Brady Cook's one of these mobile quarterbacks that can give the problems. And we gotta think, Robbie Ashford, a guy that never took a snap in Oregon, is going to get a start here. So he's known this all week. I think the moment's going to be too big. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. I think this game comes down to the wire. I'm not saying Missouri wins it, but I'm not going to be surprised at all at 2:30, 3:00 that we're on here and Auburn fans are saying, Harsin needs to be on a flight out of town tonight.
Dunaway, I just get the feeling, because everything stacks up against Auburn, like Lance said. I get the feeling they actually come out and play well because of that. I think it'll be a flat crowd, homecoming, an opponent that doesn't necessarily get your juices flowing. But I think they'll come out and actually play well today, and it might even be a false sense of security, because I don't think it's a harbinger of things to come for Auburn down this tougher stretch. I actually think they'll play well today, and I think they'll cover. I think the play as Auburn and lay the points.
I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be back later on Set Your Alerts. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and like us there, retweet us and all that. Watch us on social media. We'll let you know when we're coming back, LT.
One thing, Dunaway, I will take Missouri straight up for a steak.
Like no points?
No points.
Oh, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take Auburn at home straight up against Missouri. Yes.
So we'll make it interesting for you Auburn fans out there. Y'all want Harsin gone. Dunaway just did it.
All right.
I've got Auburn in a pick'em, and then I've got the teaser I threw out of Clemson plus 2.5, Tennessee minus a hook, and Ohio State minus 19.5, right?
Yeah, and you've got Oklahoma minus 12.5.
All right. Well, based on that stake bet, we'll be seeing you guys about 2:30 or so right here on our video platform.
I got Oklahoma minus 12.5?
Yeah.
Wow, what an idiot. Okay.
All right, that's going to do it for the JohnstonRVCenter.com Saturday Preview. Thank you for joining us. Keep your eye on the alerts and the tweets and the Facebook and all that. We'll let you know when we're back. Enjoy your football Saturday.